Hi guys, for today's lesson we're going to be dealing with a new topic, critical path analysis, and we're going to be dealing with activity charts today. Okay, so first up, what do I mean by this phrase critical path analysis, which is the name of this topic? So critical path analysis is a technique that finds the order of activities required to complete a project as quickly as possible. So this whole topic is all about trying to optimize a project, try to complete projects as fast as possible. There are a lot of jobs where pretty much you're going to be managing some sort of project. You need certain things to be happening as fast as possible, and critical path analysis is a really handy tool for that sort of job. Okay, so an activity chart. This is what we're focusing on for this lesson, or another word for it is a precedence table. So this is a tool which states information about the activities required for a project. So typically, the sort of things that you see in these tables is the activity's duration, how long each activity takes, and also the immediate predecessors for activities. So it's pretty much just a way of organizing all the different things you have to do for a project and showing the relevant sort of information. Okay, so what do I mean by an immediate predecessor or a prerequisite? So it's the activity or activities that needs to be completed just before you can start a particular activity. So it's really important to understand that with critical path analysis, you need to be very aware of what sort of activities need to come before other activities, because you need to make sure you're following the correct procedure. You've got to do one thing after the other. So these prerequisites or predecessors are talking about what comes just before certain activities, like what needs to be done beforehand. Okay, so let's do some example questions with these tables that you're going to be seeing, these activity charts. Okay, so consider the following activity chart, which describes making a slice. So here's our activity chart. You can see here that there's I'll just use a different pen. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different activities that you're going to be dealing with. And here's like the description for each activity. You can see how long each activity takes to do, and you can see the prerequisites for each activity. So at the moment, the first, second, and third activities, they actually don't have any prerequisites. So literally, you could start any of these activities straight away because there's nothing that's required to be done beforehand. However, if you want to do activity D, mix the ingredients, you have to make sure that you've done B and C already. So to start mixing the ingredients, you need to have done B, which is melt the butter, and you also need to sift the dry ingredients as well. But you wouldn't. It doesn't A is not a prerequisite of activity D, so therefore you can start activity D, and you don't have to have done activity A, which is preheat the oven. However, to complete, say, activity G, you need to have preheated the oven, A, and you also need to have done F. And F required, so you would have need to have pressed ingredients into the tin. But F requires that these ones have been done, etc. Oh, sorry, I also didn't see that E you could have started. So E has no prerequisites, so E could have been the first thing you did as well. Okay, so let's do the questions that relate to this. So what activity or activities can you do first up? So what I see here is all the ones that you can do first up are all the activities without any prerequisites. So I look at this one, sorry, I'll use this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one down here as well. All of those have a dash for the prerequisites, meaning that all of those can be done first if you wished. So you pretty much just have to list all those different activities here. Okay, moving on. So question B, what activities need to be done just before you can bake the slice? So we go to the activity bake the slice. So bake the slice is right here, activity G, you need to have done A and F just before to pretty much get this started. So it's all about looking at the prerequisites, A and F. So you need to preheat the oven, and you also need to do activity F, which is press ingredients into the tin. So those are your two answers. Preheat the oven, press ingredients into the tin. Those can be done before you start baking the slice. Okay, moving on. Create an activity chart. So pretty much making one of these sorts of charts. Make an activity chart for the following tasks required to eat Weet-Bix. So I know it seems a little bit silly making a chart to show like the different steps before you eat Weet-Bix, but it's a really good sort of process to go through to make sure that you're being really like careful with how you make these activity charts. Okay, so we've given you a list of all the tasks involved in eating Weet-Bix. So you got task A is get a bowl from the cupboard. B is get milk from the fridge. C is get a spoon from the drawer. D is getting Weet-Bix from the pantry. E is putting Weet-Bix into the bowl. F is putting milk into the bowl. And task G is eating the Weet-Bix. So there's a fair few there's a fair few tasks involved in just eating Weet-Bix. So we need to be able to put these into an activity chart. So in your activity charts, you need to make sure you're showing your list of activities. So we'll need to see A to G. And you also need to show your predecessors, what needs to come before these activities. Now, when I'm doing this table, I've started with the activities that don't have any predecessors. So you have to think to yourself, out of these tasks, what could you do straight away? So I could get a bowl from the cupboard straight away. I could get milk from the fridge straight away. I could get a spoon from the drawer straight away. I could get Weet-Bix from the pantry straight away. But I can't do E straight away. I need to put Weet-Bix into the bowl. I need to firstly get the bowl and I need to get the Weet-Bix. So there's certain things I need to have done before this one. Same with this one and same with this one. So A, B, C, and D are my activities that don't have any predecessors. So you can see there, A, B, C, D, no predecessors. That's the first thing I do for my table. Then I want to go to the activities that I can do once these ones here are done. Okay, so I can do activity E, which was put Weet-Bix into the bowl, but I can only do activity E once I've done activity A, get a bowl from the cupboard, because obviously for task E I need a bowl, but I also need the Weet-Bix, which is task D. So to do task E, I need to have done A and D first. B and C aren't relevant because that's all about milk and spoon, and that's not needed just to put Weet-Bix into a bowl. Okay, so for E, my predecessors were A and D, and for activity F, F can be done to put milk in the bowl. I firstly would have needed to get the bowl from the cupboard for this one because I need to put milk in the bowl, and I've also need to get milk from the fridge. So task F requires A and B to do. It doesn't require me getting a spoon from the drawer, so C is not relevant there. So notice here my predecessors for activity F were A and B. That's what I need to have done before I can start F. And then the final activity that we've got to deal with is activity G. We've completed our list. Now to do G, I got to think, what are the activities that need to come just before? So you'll notice that these activities of A, B, and D, they were kind of before E and F. And E and F need to be completed before I can start G, which is eating. So I definitely need to show E and F in my predecessors for G. But also, I haven't really considered C yet. Like C hasn't occurred in any predecessors. To start eating my Weet-Bix, I definitely need to have gotten a spoon from the cupboard. So therefore, C has to fit into my predecessors for G, if that makes sense. So you can kind of see that all these letters have kind of eventually fit into my predecessors for G one way or another. So I hope this helps with the questions. Good luck.